ask if we have any veterans with us today? Okay. On behalf of the Jonathan Alder School Board, we thank every veteran for their service, past, present, and future. Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Mrs. Duttweiler.
Here.
Mr. Hooley. Here. Mr. McCartney. Present. Mr. Wotop.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here. Let's take a moment for silent prayer and meditation. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the November 11th, 2025 agenda for the Jonathan Alder regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Hooley.
Yes.
Mr. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Wotop.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Duttweiler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th, 2025 regular meeting?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Wotop.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Hooley.
Yes.
Mrs. Duttweiler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on now to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Well, what an interesting and unique position the district is in now that we're in this holding period. It's my understanding that there will be official board meetings, the Madison County Board of Election meeting this Thursday at 8:30. When I talked to them last Friday, they said around 2 hours they're hoping to have an answer on where they are on those unaccounted for ballots. And then on Monday, the 17th, Union County Board of Elections, that meeting starts at 9. Those are open to the public. And I sent invitations to each of the board members, not for all of you to attend, but if anyone wants to attend. And if a board member can't attend, I will attend. Mark or even Tyler Jester has volunteered to have someone present at those meetings. Good news is, just yesterday we closed on the 12 acres that you see right behind you. This was a year-long process. If those that were involved in the community advisory team sessions that took place last fall, really right about this time was when we were in the biggest debate about if a junior high could go on this site and we needed more space. And that's when the conversations with Mr. Reel really got serious about selling. He wasn't interested before that time, but when he realized that a junior high may go on this site anyways, when we discussed instead of a rectangular square-shaped property, a strip would be able to give this site 28% more property. So I think we did a good job with I guess answering the question and concerns of the community, especially the CAT, about can a junior high go here, and that's going to give us the parking, the bus loops, the practice fields, and some other options that we'll need in the near future. So Mr. Ingalls spent an hour going through paperwork and signing and sending those over, so I wanted to thank Mr. Ingalls for taking care of that, and we own the land now, so it's really exciting.
Great news. Great job.
So, you know, I know we're in this waiting period for the bond, and but I wanted to reassure the board that the teaching and learning is our highest priority no matter what. I've been talking about the work that Dr. Schrock has been leading over this last several months, and I think every board meeting I've said, I'm not ready to bring her up yet, I'm not ready yet, because the momentum was building, the number of students that we're engaging with was continued to increase, and so I think we're at a great position now, regardless of the bond, regardless of where we are in a year. This work matters, and this work is really preparing our graduates for life beyond the high school. So Dr. Schrock, I can't thank you enough for preparing. I've seen you do some of these overviews several times in front of different folks, so I'm just really excited for the board to see how our students are benefiting from this work.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to share what we're doing. It's super exciting, and it's certainly not just my work. This is a team effort. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of support, not just from the teaching and learning team, but from Darren and Clint as the high school administrators, from our guidance counselors, and our teachers' energy towards this work. And that's what's honestly been the way that this has grown really quickly. So you'll notice that I put on the first slide here, Pathway for Every Pioneer, and we are passionate about this being something for everyone, that there is something in it for everyone, and that's how this is designed. And the college, career, workforce, military, I laugh about how many words are in that, but that does kind of encompass like what are our students' options when they leave here, and that pretty much covers it. So looking at this first slide, I kind of wanted to start by zooming out so we can zoom in, okay? And this, you've probably seen us talk about this before, but I just wanted to bring attention to it. This is a culmination of the work, again, that team, that district leadership team, from teachers from throughout and administrators from throughout the district who came together and put this together, and then we reevaluated it again on Tuesday when we all met, and there's just been a lot of conversation around this. We wanted to have some common language from our youngest learners in pre-K all the way to our seniors on what it means to be a person who has skills that are employable, that are relatable, and that can carry students into their future. And so you know about the 6 skills, and across the bottom we have the industries. The first list of industries from construction to agribusiness are because of the number of jobs that are projected in this area, and we added service because that's what we really believe in as a district. That we also need to remember that there's always going to be a need for teachers and firefighters and law enforcement and social workers and so forth. So and nonprofits. So this is the overall big picture that we're talking about our students with in all of this work. And I like to talk about a lot about, and you'll hear me say this several times, that we want to talk about careers for our students, but we also want to talk about purpose. And I think that probably there's a lot to say there, because I think more of our students could talk to you about the things that they value and their purpose, even more than they could perhaps the career that they want at this point. And I think it's important that we have a foundation of purpose. Part of that foundation that we're trying to create is, again, structuring from pre-K to 12, and Emily in the Library Innovation group has been integral in making this happen, our STEAM classrooms and so forth, but there is something at every building going on. But today I'm going to focus mostly on our high school because that's what I was charged with doing first, because they're going to be leaving us the quickest, and we do have a measure that we are being held accountable for, similar to the early literacy measure, similar weight, a 12.5% weight for our state report card when it comes to this college and career workforce readiness. And I've been on a huge learning curve with this. We had our very first report card come out with this information on it, and we scored 3 stars, and that's a really solid score. But how did we come up with that score? They literally take the number of students who graduated in that cohort with the number of students who had 1 college and career readiness marker. So if student Bill has 5 different markers and student Jim only has 0, it's still a 1 point for us. We don't get bonus points for Bill having 5, okay? So that's important to remember as we look at all of this. Back to the every student, we want every student to have a marker. This is about every student. And so, but also understand that we might see tremendous growth in an area. For example, I'm going to talk in a minute about how we didn't have any pre-apprenticeships, and now we have 4, and we have 8 students in those pre-apprenticeships. So that number is going to grow a lot, but if all of those kids already had a college and career marker, it's not going to grow our overall score. So we want to look at we want to grow in all of the areas, and we want every student to be impacted. The more opportunities we provide, the more impact. So I listed a few of the report card markers. There are more than this. There's actually a total of 11 of them. But these are the ones I really want to talk about today, because we like to look at kind of what low-lying fruit there is. What areas we see that we already have some really good momentum going in for our students, what makes sense for our students. We want to be accountable to the state report card, but we also want to make sure we're doing what's best for kids. And we kind of identified these areas as ones that we could really focus in on to do some supportive measures to make sure that we continue to grow in these areas. So I'm going to go over those right now. The first one is ACT. And you'll see that the blue is the minimum target score, and the yellow is the most recent, the class of 2024's measure. Keep in mind, we're always 2 years behind, okay? So, or a year behind, but it feels like 2 years because it comes out kind of late. So right now, we know what our state report card is probably gonna look like in this area for last year, but this year's students we won't capture for another cycle yet. So just kind of keep that in mind. And our scores, our average scores are actually solid comparatively across the state of Ohio. We have good scores, but we didn't love that gap between what, if students can just raise their score by less than 2 points, which mathematically doesn't make sense in ACT, but you get my idea, then they can not only get into colleges they want to get into and get money for ACT scores, because scholarship money is often tied to ACT scores, but it will also help our state report card. So we wanted to do something very active to help support our teachers and our students, and we found a program that was research-based that ACT is in collaboration with and promotes, that's called Mastery, Prep, thank you. I wanted to say Connect, and that's a different program. Thank you, Nicole, because Nicole's actually led a lot of this work. I'm glad she's here. So our English teachers so far have gotten together, and then we're going to set up some times for our math teachers as well, where they're talking about how to include this program within their curriculum. And why this is important is that the state of Ohio standards doesn't align to the ACT. Okay, there are things that the ACT tests that are never, ever, ever in any standards. So there's some gaps. And so they're going to use it to help close the gaps. And we know that some of our students take algebra in 8th grade, and then they go to take the ACT their junior year. And that's a long time. They might be our best math students, but they may not be scoring to their potential. So we're going to try to build in some supports for them. And every student has a subscription to it, so they can log in on their own time. But we also know that it's probably more likely they'll do it with some guidance from teachers, and the teachers can help point them in the right direction for that. So we're excited about our ACT support. Next is our College Credit Plus work. And I was astounded. I'd seen some of these numbers before, but just calculating them again for the class of 2025. Based on current enrollment in College Credit Plus classes right now, we are looking at 1,590 college credits earned by this class if they complete the classes they're enrolled in. And that's a soft number because they continue second semester to add classes. We went from having 7 courses that we offered by JHS staff to 13. This is important because nationally, and in the state of Ohio specifically, students do better on college credit classes when it's taught by one of their teachers in the classroom, right? And then finally, we are going to add 2 more classes. We have a teacher as part of a cohort program who's getting some training through a grant to be certified to teach some speech and communication college level classes next year. So this is a growing area. I'm excited about this. It helps our students towards college. It helps them. It saves our community members money. And it also is a measure on the report card.
Nicole, how many students do we have right now in College Credit Plus?
Oh, I didn't put that number on here. Clint, do you have any idea how many we have? I thought it was out of the 170 in this cohort of this 2025. I'm going to say I have a chart. I'll pull that. I have that data on my computer, but just not on this slide. It is a long list of students. In order to count for the college, for the measure on the state card, state report card, they have to have 12 credit hours. And so we have a number of students who have maybe 3 or 6, but we also have students who have like 56. Okay, so you see a wide variance there. But I was actually pleased to look at that number to see that it's not just 10 kids taking all these credits. It's spread pretty thin. I'm gonna spitball a number of about 50 at least, but I'm gonna say even closer to 75.
It's, if you count our classes here at the high school and online, it's well over 100. I'm thinking
Okay,
more like
I wanted to be
150.
conservative.
Between the 3 grade levels, you're talking 150 kids easy. Wow.
Oh, that's right, I was just counting seniors. I wasn't calculating on, because they can take them earlier in their high school career. All right, moving on. The next area that we added this year is Innovato, which is our online platform. And why does this matter? What this allows us to do is, for our college career readiness, this is some flexible scheduling. And we're talking about every student. This really impacts every student. This is students who are taking classes that they want to be with that teacher, but they can't because they would have to choose between French 3, which is an honors diploma pathway, and band, which might be a fine arts diploma or just the experience of it, and now they don't have to choose anymore. They get to do both, okay? We also have students doing credit recovery. We want our students to have those credits to graduate, and that's an important part of this measure as well. So we have right now 65 individual students enrolled in Innovato, and we have 80 courses in progress. Some students are using it for enrichment, some of it using it for flexibility, and it's been a really positive experience.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, it's an online learning platform. We have a classroom, a physical classroom for some students to come to. Some of them are doing it independently. And that's where Mr. Glass is overseeing that kind of like study space, so it's like an online learning lab. And then all of the classes that we use in Innovato, all with maybe an exception of 1 or 2, are written by Ohio teachers in accordance to Ohio standards for Ohio students. And that's why we chose this program. It's not a program that has a really vast catalog, but it's a very selective and well-written courses.
Can I ask a question? Mr. Hayes, can you just give the board one example, one that pops to your mind that's really working for a student that just maybe that's moved in, that going to a regular course wouldn't be beneficial for them credit-wise, and so this is a great pathway for them?
Yeah, I can think of multiple students. The one that's popping into my head right now, though, is a student who is involved in band and choir both, and needs to get a certain number of credits with their career goals and with going to college. They don't have room for foreign language, so they're taking online French 3 so that they can get that credit. And honestly, it gets them the third year of foreign language, gets them the honors diploma, and also is going to help them with their college application. So that's the first one that comes to mind.
I think another one that comes to mind, there's 2 or 3 students who were toll students who we had to find a science class for, and in order to continue their tolls program, there was no science class that fit with their toll schedule and ours, and so it's like playing Tetris with schedules, right? And all of a sudden we have the flexibility to say, yeah, here's a quality course, you can take it and you can continue welding. So,
And is Innovato self-paced?
It
Or
is,
are there, like, benchmarks?
so we have there's an attendance system that we have. They have to stay on pace within a certain margin, and that's what Mr. Glass keeps track of. So there is a pacing guide for it, but a student can finish the course earlier, and there's a kind of a deadline by the end of the school year to finish it. So it is self-paced, but an accountable program. Next one, this is one I'm really excited about. We have 4 state-approved career apprenticeships. State-approved career apprenticeships are a pretty big lift, and we joined partnership with the EFC of Central Ohio to help us build these. This is different than an internship. Career apprenticeships are counted in the college career readiness marker on the state report card. Internships are not. State of Ohio made these decisions. Part of it is they put a lot of regulations around these career apprenticeships. They have to have 12 points of credentialing. They have to have 150 hours minimum. There's quite a few things wrapped up in this. But we have 7 students right now who are working in our K through 8 classrooms, and we have 1 student who is starting this week in our wellness pre-apprenticeship, and she'll be a student athletic trainer. So we're really excited about that. The impact it's having on our littlest learners to have a big kid come in and work in their classroom, and the energy in meeting with these students who are working with students and thinking this might be a career path they want is really, really exciting. So that's been really fun. They're rigorous experiences. They're all hands-on. There's not coursework that they're taking to take these classes. It is a boots on the ground experience. But they also have to do things like get CPR certified and be a Google level 1 educator by the time they're done. Ohio Means Jobs is another area that we're really working on building. This is another area that's measured by the state report card, and here's what it means. And first of all, if you look at if you think back to the first slide where it said we raised our score by 6%. This was a lot Ohio Means Jobs and a lot our guidance counselors going after Ohio Means Jobs applications for students. Ohio Means Jobs is an application that measures 15 skills, requires students to report 3 mentors, and in 2 different work environments, work, school, or community. And in addition to that, there's Ohio Means Jobs, that's the seal. Schools like us are required to have 250 work-based learning hours. This is a little different. The TOLS is not required to have that 250 hours piece, but we are, and probably because TOLS has so much hands-on stuff. But the state requires, Ohio has slightly different requirements for technical settings versus career tech versus general education. Okay, and what we're doing with this is we are trying to really be more intentional about having students record the things that they do that are work and volunteer and service, and record those hours. You worked that baseball camp for the little kids all summer, or that girls basketball camp, record those hours. That's work-based learning. And use your coach as your mentor. That's a mentor. And we probably could all agree that if students can all have 15 skills that they've demonstrated, 3 mentors, and 2 places where they've demonstrated that in their high school career, that's worth something. So it's more than just a piece of paper. It can also work towards it's one of the parts of an honors diploma. So that's also an important reason that we're emphasizing this work.
Does that get towards the 12-point credential as well?
Not Ohio Means Jobs.
No.
The work-based learning and the work-based and the industry recognized credentials are in 2 different buckets. They often go together, but in this situation they don't. So, but for example, I'm glad you asked that, Bill, because the pre-apprenticeship we require 150 hours, so that can also double dip onto this for 150 of those hours. And it is another mentor. My teacher that I'm working with, or the athletic trainer that I'm working with, is a mentor. So it's reportable in both places. Not related to this, the state report card, but I wanted to include this as some of the work that we're doing, just to kind of emphasize how we are really intentionally preparing students for the things that they've asked for, and hands-on learning and preparedness is our Ag Club. And I'm going to celebrate that while this is part of a 3-year rollout plan, this is just the beginning. We already have a number of students who've had a number of experiences going to farm science review and meeting together with different farming scenarios. And we're excited about where this could take off and build more of that work-based learning connection. We do actually have a student that's working under a work-based learning contract right now with this school, where she leaves school to do special projects that her 4-H advisor is her mentor, and her family farm is her workspace. All right, so Future Ready Fridays and community is my wrap up here. And I saved this for last because this has been where a lot of this work is taking place. I talked about all these different initiatives. It comes together on the 4th Friday of every month, where freshmen have career speakers. They go out to micro field trips. We get to visit Mr. Hooley in a couple weeks at his radio station for our arts and communication group. We have students who are going to tour local businesses and industries, and they are touring the things, going to visit places that they've said, yeah, I think I like this career. And we're giving them lots of different experiences on those Fridays. Sophomores and juniors are working on ACT prep and future ready skill development. We worked on the art of a handshake introduction a couple of weeks ago, and we're also going to venture into like, how do I ethically use AI? So there's lots of different places and spaces, but maybe there's things that teachers are saying, these things are important, but they aren't really in my standards and I don't have time to work them into my classroom. We're using Pioneer Period and leading this work. Seniors last month got to choose between a mock interview, a job shadow, a college visit, or a volunteer experience, and we had nearly 100% participation. So that's been very exciting. And we're bringing in community and speakers and so forth for things like Future Ready Parent Night, but also to speak to these groups, to conduct mock interviews. And that's been a really fun connection, to let community members see our kids and talk to them and walk away, and all of them were like, wow, that was really cool. That student really was articulate, and that's the kind of student I want. In one of our groups on a Future Ready Friday, the speaker pointed at one of the students who was asking really good questions and said, "And I would hire you." And that was a pretty cool moment. So just to wrap up, we are focused on not just improving our state report card. That's always important. But the ultimate purpose of this is to help students find their purpose and their pathway to achieving that purpose when they leave Jonathan Alder. One of the ways that you all can help is that this QR code links to a survey. That this is how we're collecting those community involvement pieces. So we are gathering from our own community on people who are willing to talk to our students, willing to do those mock interviews, willing to host a job shadow or a micro field trip, and that's how we're just giving our students as many experiences as we can.
Thank you all. That's great. Thank you very much.
I didn't have a question slide, but if you have any questions, fire away.
I just want to reiterate that while the Ohio State test scores are important and they mean a lot to the district, the ultimate goal here is getting our kids the most opportunities possible, not meeting check marks. And I think I probably speak for the whole board when I say that we're behind you, supporting you, and we really appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is there a kiddo or a high schooler doing the field placement, for lack of better, I don't remember what you call it, at Plain City Elementary Youth?
That's actually a work-based learning experience.
It's
It's not a full pre-apprenticeship, but we have some students who are also, I didn't mention that here, but who are reading with or working with some of our students. Yeah.
My daughter talks about McKenna every day. She loves her.
Awesome.
So let me share that. She
Very good.
talks about her every day.
And that's what we're hearing across the board is that the opportunity for our high school students to rise to leadership and for our youngest students to be influenced by role models that we want them to be like when they grow up is pretty cool stuff. So.
You know what, that reminds me too, the whole purpose focus. As a parent of 3 children, you know, we talk about how you can make money in your life, and as you approach my age, you start to realize that purpose outweighs money. And I love the idea that you're putting that thought into their heads when they're children. It would be great to have both, but to disregard purpose will leave them with a very empty life regardless of how much money.
And that really is what kind of came out of our November 4th work with our teachers, is all of them came back. We love the portrait of a pioneer, but let's always remember heart. And we're the heart of things, you know, that heart,
Just
that
again,
passion,
thinking
that
about
purpose.
it, I think is brilliant.
Thank you.
Dr. Miller, I had a question about the meetings of the Madison County Board of Election and the Union County Board of Election. Do you know, you said something like it'll take 2 hours and like what
This
is?
was an estimate. I called on Thursday or Friday and talked to a couple individuals at Board of Elections for Madison County, and the best she could tell me was the meeting is open to the public at 8:30. Anyone can join. There will be a time that they have to, I guess, hold an executive session, but they are actually counting ballots, and we would know the results at that meeting. 2 to 3 hours is what she estimated.
My understanding is they go through each ballot They go through ballot by ballot and they review the name and the address. They confirm with their previous county of record to see if they voted somewhere else, and they go through and they approve every single ballot individually. And
At
that's
these
what-
meetings?
That's what they're doing at that time, yes.
Okay, so no one's doing it beforehand?
Not to my knowledge, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, I've never.
Really, your understanding? Yeah, you
My-
don't
my-
work there.
my-
You don't
yeah,
work
my-
there, so,
my
yeah.
understanding.
It's shutting down. This is when they establish the official count, the official vote.
Canvas, they call it the canvas.
Yes.
Okay,
It's a way for us to know the results maybe a couple hours earlier before they send it off to the Secretary of State and post it on the website.
okay.
But it's bipartisan, they have a Democrat and a Republican that are there
They have to agree.
watching the process and agreeing that this ballot should be counted, this ballot should be counted.
Okay. Great. And one last thing, I just want to thank you, Dr. Miller, for the work you did negotiating the purchase of land. That was a long process, and it personally gave me a lot of relief, having those additional 12 acres, and I thank you for sticking with it. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Public participation?
Anyone?
Okay. We are now moving on to section 7. This is time for the
Wait, I
treasurer.
actually did have a question. I just wasn't sure. I didn't get here in time to sign up to speak. I have one question. In the documents that were put out to the public regarding what happens if the bond doesn't pass, there was conversation about, I can't remember the specific verbiage, about students being split. In terms of, I understand you guys have to unload Plain City Elementary School. That is very clear. Will siblings be able to stay together?
Perhaps not.
We don't know at that point, and I
Okay.
don't want you to concern yourself with it at that point, only because we don't know if we have to make these decisions yet.
Totally.
Is there a
Totally.
possibility in the future where we are maxed out at Plain City Elementary and a student in the same family have to switch schools? That's an unfortunate possibility.
Okay. And then my next question for that response is, if I want my children to stay together and they can at Monroe, can I take both my kids to Monroe?
You know what, that's a great question, and that's definitely something we will take into consideration as we're trying to work through this and make it easiest on every family.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Thank
and then
for
will
that.
you guys allow community involvement in that decision-making process?
Well,
And then how do we get involved if we want to be
Right,
part of it?
well, those questions are a great start to getting the community involved, because that's something that I don't know that we've considered, but we definitely will.
We have went through so many different scenarios, and there's
Sure.
even some that we haven't considered yet.
Mhm.
We're actually using real families that are in the district to think about how that would impact them.
Sure.
And I think I've used the example publicly numerous times. If a fourth grader, or a family moves in with a fourth grader and a second grader right now, second grader might have to go to Monroe, but I wanted to assure you that every decision that I would recommend to the board, it would be what I think is best, not just for the district, but that individual family as well too. Definitely wouldn't do anything to try to separate the siblings. We would try to keep them together and give that family the option. It's either fourth grader can enroll at Plain City, the second grader would have to go to Monroe, or both go to Monroe. That's what I would like to do, so know that that would be a high priority of mine.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I have a lot of neighbors who are like, oh my gosh. Because we're in Derby Station, so we're the neighborhood that's split by counties. And all of us are thinking and having real conversations about, it would make sense to split us, especially by county. That would be an easy, understandable split. But
Well, it just depends on which kids are,
totally.
Which
ones
kids
are
are-
Union
which
and
kids are in
ones
which
Madison.
county, right,
Yeah, I know. But that's, I mean, as somebody who is really involved with the bond campaign, I'm getting a lot of questions from people now, and I wanted to have,
well, that was one of
Knowledge.
the things that was noted in the, prior to the bond that we handed out, was
Yeah.
that there's a possibility, depending on what grade students are in, that they might be, one student in one family, in the same family, might be at Plain City Elementary, and another one might be at Monroe. Or that next door neighbors, if houses are built at different times, best friends, next door neighbors, one student might be going to Plain City Elementary, one might be going to Monroe. We were very clear in putting that out there ahead of time, so there'd be no surprises on the part of our voters.
yeah. I think that was literature maybe people missed. So now they're only paying attention to the document that was attached in your most recent email. And I wanted to be very clear if I'm going to pass on information that no decisions have been made.
No decision.
No decisions have been made.
Well, and I think it's gonna be a dynamic conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
no matter what happens, even if it passes, you're still talking 3 years before a building's built. And so there's gonna be dynamic conversations over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Potentially about what happens in the next 3 years.
Mhm.
I would like to commend you because I know how vocal you've been in participating and being a captain, I think,
Yes.
in your big neighborhood. But now that the concern and the discussions are taking place about what if, are you responding and carrying on conversations about the importance of this needs to pass so that we're not in that position?
Correct.
Okay.
I encouraged many of my new resident neighbors that especially didn't get registered in time to vote provisionally.
Excellent.
So that was my big message. It's okay if you miss the deadline, get a provisional ballot on the books. And I am so hopeful. That was the work that needed to be done. 3 of us went around on foot to all 300 homes in our neighborhood, and most of them, we hit every house that was part of the news lab, or the zero lot homes, because many of them don't have children. And we thought those were the ones to hit hard first. But
Well,
many have children.
That's good to know that I didn't realize that development is half Madison and half Union.
Yes.
Because that bodes well for the number of provisional ballots
Yes.
coming out of Madison County.
Correct. I would say most of us. Anything in Union is part of the newest part of the development.
But just because it's split in half and there's 350 homes that are done in there, does that mean hardly any are Union, or are you saying half of it is Madison, half of it's Union right now?
My property line is 80-20.
Wow.
Where I sleep determines where I vote in my house. Yeah, not even joking, not even joking. And yes, in May, I went to Union County Board of Elections to vote early, and I got to, I know, I told my husband that. I'll tell him to sleep there. But I went to Union County Board of Elections to vote early in May, and they're like, oh, you're not Union County, you're not registered to vote here. I had to go all the way down to Madison, which was a lovely drive. And that's where I passed Monroe for the very first time.
Yep.
So. But no, I am so hopeful we got the right work done in my neighborhood, because I know it mattered a lot.
You don't have to wait for board meetings to come and ask questions. You can get a hold of me anytime, and I'll steer you in the direction the best that I can, or get you involved in some of these committee work that when we have to
Do you
make.
have any paid positions with benefits? I'm just kidding. I love my job. I wouldn't want to leave it, but I am very interested in being involved. So
Thank you. You've already been involved a lot. Thank you very much.
I hope I didn't embarrass anybody on the community forum.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I was told to shut up, so I did.
You know what, actually, since this is public participation time, I'd like to thank Mr., is it Smarra? Smarra?
He's here. You want to come in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mr. Smarra, thanks for joining us this evening. We're actually in our public participation piece now, and Mrs. Walker, our school board president, is invited you in. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for being gracious enough to come tonight. We did have some real serious concerns about the timing of the reevaluation letters that arrived in mailboxes. And I think I'm gonna, I guess, to start off the question, you can't, it seems suspect. I mean, the whole community thought it seemed suspect for these reevaluations to arrive that were, to our understanding, could be higher or lower than the letters that went out.
That's correct.
Okay, so why send them? Why not wait until the final numbers are out?
Because the final numbers will not be ready until approximately January. I will be sending tax bills out 2 weeks later. So with the significant change in values that we've seen across the county, you're literally talking about people with thousands of dollars higher tax bills than they've seen previously, and they're first finding out when they get the tax bill that's then due a month later.
Well, you did send out notices earlier this summer.
The auditor sent out a postcard that essentially said, if you click on this QR code, you can go look at your revaluations. It had nothing.
And I did.
Okay.
I did. You don't trust people to be able to do that? You still felt the need to send the letters on
No,
your own?
because the valuation is only one element of it.
Okay.
The valuation obviously impacts the ultimate taxes. I send out the tax bill. I'm the one whose name's on that letter that comes to your house, or whether you have a mortgage company, goes there, and 2 weeks later or a month later, people are paying that. So valuation is one element of your taxes. The other element obviously is the rates. Two pieces that we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the auditor will do a revaluation once every 3 years, once every 6 with a physical observation. That is then compiled, sent on to the state. The state may or may not adjust it. Sometimes I've never seen them adjust them downward, but the Department of Tax Equalization wants to make sure that values are properly reflected in taxing districts. I've seen them raise, say, there's a factor in there that allows them to do it. So typically the auditor will appraise it at 100%. Department of Tax Equalization can go up to 130%. We've seen in certain neighborhoods in Jerome Township and putting a 30% increase on values. Now, that just means that can be a moving number from the valuation standpoint. The other side of it is rate, okay? Now, rate is, I'm going to assume that everybody in here is like very, very familiar with how tax rates in Ohio work.
I guess my question is, do you set the rates?
Do
So
I set the
how
rates?
would you able to get the estimate of increase of taxes?
Well, essentially there's two components of rates. There's the rates everybody voted, and then there's something called inside millage.
But you don't set those.
I
Doesn't
don't,
the auditor?
and I didn't try to calculate the
Then
rates.
how can you come up with the numbers?
Because I can take the inside millage times the change and come up with a
But that's
variable
the
change.
auditor's job to set the assessed value of property.
You're right.
You're not the county auditor, are you?
No, can I finish, Bruce? Thank you for, no, the numbers that are on that sheet were the county auditor's values.
Were you directed by the county auditor to send those out?
I have no tie back to the county auditors that relates to that.
So why was it so urgent that you send it out right before election?
It had nothing
You had
to
these numbers back in the summer.
No, I didn't. It was urgent because I've been working on coming up with a formula that would work for taxpayers since those values went out in August.
And what if the values change?
They can
Then
change.
you
In
can't
fact,
say it worked,
the
right?
letter says that this is an estimate based on the current valuations that are in the system. All I'm trying to do is give people, particularly people that have a mortgage at escrows, some heads up as to what they can expect to change it. I don't have a definitive number. That's why it says an estimate. That's why it's a range.
And so it's so
Can I ask you a
important to do it right before an election.
Had nothing to do with the election, other than that's when everything was mature.
I've got a letter here.
Come on.
I've got a letter here from you to our superintendent,
I know.
to our board, that says the timing of the letter that started to arrive in some mailboxes on November the 3rd, the day before the election, was not planned as part of any election cycle. Did you write that?
Yes, absolutely.
In the Columbus Dispatch, the day before you sent this letter, on November the 6th, which the interview would have had to have been done on November the 5th, the day before you sent this letter, you said there was nothing insidious about the timing. Did I think it would show up on Monday or Tuesday? It was never a thought because it says nothing about the election. Is that an accurate quote?
Yeah, it sounds like consistent.
Great. Do you have a Facebook page?
Public or private?
You have a Facebook page where you posted about that I considered it my public duty to provide a heads up to taxpayers of this significant increase, even if it's not finalized. How can you reconcile in these two other places where you say that it was all just a merry coincidence, and here you are on the day before the election posting on your Facebook page that you consider it your public duty that this gets in people's hands before the election so they'll know how to vote? This post was shared 41 times and shared 19 times. Do you want me to read you the reaction from people about their property values going up? This mailing is great timing, one day before we go to the ballot box. Here's another one. Property values in Union County, and letters went out to property owners this week. Union County's reappraised all properties, resulting in massive increases in value. Many properties had one-year increases of $300,000. Is it your position that this had no impact on our bond levy and the results?
Well, you're conflating two things, Bruce. First of all, when I found out they started arriving in the mailbox, that's when I posted on Facebook, okay?
But I don't believe you. I believe you
don't have to
posted,
bel-
I
you
believe
don't-
you
you don't
posted
have
on
to believe me,
Facebook before
okay?
you got caught with your hands in the cookie jar,
Bruce,
before the
why
county
would I-
auditor
why-
excoriated
okay. Well,
you,
you like to talk, don't
before
you?
the county
That's why
commissioners
you're on top- that's why you're on
excoriated
top
you,
radio.
and you're trying to save your bacon because you
I'm
know
not
you
trying
got
to
way out
save
of line.
anything.
Then why not wait till after the election? And why not make sure they get to every voter's house? Not a few, every voter's
They went out
house.
to every owner-occupied residency in Union County.
There are people in my neighborhood that still haven't gotten
I
theirs.
can't
I
tell
live in
you.
Butte County and I haven't received one.
Exactly.
They went
It
out,
looks suspicious.
there was a mailing of 13,700 and what, forget what number. I gave you that number.
Was that to all county residents, or all county residents with a mortgage, or was that
These are
only?
county residents that have an owner occupancy exemption on their taxes.
So that would exclude anyone who moved into who bought, for anyone who has a property that was a tax levy after 2013.
What's that?
Because owner occupancy credit went away in 2013.
There you go. That's why
No,
my
it hasn't.
neighborhood hasn't gotten them.
Owner occupancy is still available at 2.5% to every property owner in the county and state.
It's not on every levy. That's where I'm trying to think of how.
You're,
it was missed here.
you're talking about the rollback for new taxes. No, the owner occupancy is a credit. If you live in the property that you own, you have a small credit. It's one way of identifying people that aren't renting the property or aren't landlords. You're talking about the rollback for existing levies.
I'm wondering if you have record of letters similar to what you sent on November 3rd that you've sent in
I've
previous
never sent it
years.
before.
Okay, so the
I would say that- okay,
Marysville
just
bond.
Listen, we're gonna not make this about arguing because what's done is done. It's not gonna change what you did, and we're not gonna drag ourselves to your level. But I think that fact alone,
Which fact?
the fact that you've never before sent a letter of this nature to the residents to inform them, per your public service duty, of the potential increase in their taxes, really just speaks to kind of what our point
It
is.
speaks to a
There
political
really
agenda
wasn't
that you had a levy you wanted to tank.
any
I don't
good
know if it
reason
was
for you to
ours,
do
but it
it.
was somebody's levy you wanted to tank.
There were no other real
The
levies.
Marysville bond levy that failed on November the 10th, a week after Election Day this year, in 2024. It's
Marysville
the same
didn't have-
kind of calendar.
Marysville
but
didn't have a bond levy.
They didn't have a bond levy, but the valuation on that levy before their taxpayers, which you say you care so much about the taxpayers, and that the taxpayers know exactly how much they're gonna have to pay per $100,000, that was gonna raise more than the $179 that ours was estimated to.
Are you
So
talking-
if it's your,
are you talking about the 5.5 mil?
I am
operating
talking about the
levy?
5.5.
Okay.
I am talking about the
That was
5.5.
passed in May.
No, it was passed in May. It failed in November of 2024.
There was no
Correct?
revaluation in November of 2024.
What?
There were no revaluations in 2024.
They were
Revaluations
But
2025.
Erica's point and my point is, you've never made it a practice to give,
This is tied to the
communicate.
revaluation.
You've never made it a point to communicate with taxpayers in November when there's going to be, a possibility of evaluation, and the language in your Facebook post is extremely inflammatory. Significant increases in real estate
You
values
wouldn't
across
consider a
Union County.
30% increase in your value significant?
The increased value, along with any tax levies that were passed, will have a significant increase in the amounts that will be coming due in January 1st, 2026.
That's correct.
It's inflammatory language. If we win the recount, even if we win the recount, You have sowed so many seeds of discord in our district that we're going to have to clean up for the mess you created for us. I
May
find
I
the
ask you-
conduct
may I ask you-
unprofessional
That
and
is
inexcusable.
what most people consider an opinion.
May I ask
It's
you
a
question?
fact-based opinion.
It's a fact.
How
Well-
long have you been serving as trustee?
Well, the treasurer,
Treasurer, sorry.
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. So
There's
there's been
been
at
three other
least three
reevaluations.
reevaluation cycles.
Right.
And this is the first time that you have ever sent a letter in advance.
I think that's.
And no other time during those evaluation cycles, is it your case, is it your opinion that because the evaluations went up so
Significant.
much, the public had a right to know?
Well, do you believe the public doesn't have a right to know?
Absolutely not. I'm asking about
Okay.
whether or not that's your opinion.
My opinion is the public should receive from their elected officials, the ones that are in a capacity to know or to do so, information that could be detrimental to their financial well-being, whether they be straight out paying their taxes or through an escrow program. And that is
Okay,
essentially
may
it.
I, okay,
And
I'm
even
sorry.
if it's inaccurate.
I want to ask you
It's an
this.
estimate. That's why it says estimates all over it.
I want to ask you this. Have the reevaluations ever gone down?
They've
In
not
your
gone up
tenure.
as, well, yes, in fact, they have. In 2008, 2009, 2010, values went down.
Okay, but
you
you
weren't-
only do it
you weren't
every
treasurer.
every
No,
3
I
years.
It's once every 6
In
years.
your tenure, in your
No.
tenure.
They have not gone
They have
down.
not escalated at the level they have in the last 2 cycles now.
Okay, what was the different
What's the
escalating
letter in the
level?
last?
Well, basically, this valuation is based on 2021, 22, 23, or 24 value changes which coincide with COVID and the rapid growth in central, particularly Union County, as far as housing. So the demand for housing. So your average prices have gone through the roof in Union County over the last 3 years. Now, the revaluation does not look at 2025. It looks at 22, 23, and 24 because it's a 3-year look back. Over that period, prices, particularly in Union County, whether it's Jerome Township, whether it's Marysville, or even if it's Ridgewood, has seen massive escalations, both in existing stock and new stock.
I mean, do you have a problem with that?
Do I have a problem with values going up? No, I think I have an obligation to let people know that taxes are going to
Then
go up.
what you're saying is you then failed to do your previous diligence because you never did notify people. And this is the first time you've actually done your duty as a public official.
I consider this time
Yeah.
to be extremely,
But 3 years ago was a similar increase, right?
no. I mean, it was up.
At least
It was
20%.
Yeah, it probably was. It probably, it
But now,
varied-
but
it
we're talking a
varied by where
delta of
you're
five,
at.
we're talking a delta
The,
of 5 to 10%
The
at
bigger
this point.
impacts seem to be in the Jerome Township area, Jerome Village and things like that. This cycle, they tended not to go up as much.
So if the bigger rates were Jerome Village, why not notify that community?
They
Leave
were-
us alone.
But that was 3 years ago we're talking.
Okay, but still.
They, again,
begs the question of the timing of your letters again.
everybody that identified that was an owner-occupied property received the letter with their valuation change.
They didn't receive it, you mailed it.
Well, yes.
Many of
No.
us still haven't received
I,
it.
again,
Okay.
it's just like,
Mr. Smarra, I think the key is that you did no service to the Jonathan Alder School District. You
I
did a
did
great
not consider
disservice.
Jonathan
You
Alder's
heard us.
position in my
You should
decision.
You heard us bad, you heard our kids.
But you didn't just, it's not about even passing the levy or the bond. It's not even about that. It's way bigger than that. You've sown distrust in our community because of your need to perform what you believe to be your civic duty that you would never did in the past.
Which you are not authorized to do by your boss or your commissioners.
First of all, I don't report to the commissioner. I'm an
No, but you
independently
do report to
elected
the
officer.
taxpayers, as
Pardon
we
me?
all do. As we
You're
all do.
right, that's who I report to. And my only actions were in support of the taxpayers, not any other political subdivision, not the commissioners. Bruce, I suggest you go review the Ohio Revised Code. I do not report to the commissioners. They have no say, other than they approve my general fund budget, that's it.
Well, they're not happy with you.
You
You're
know
auditor.
what, I'm not there to make them happy.
Mr. Smarra, did you know that we were on the ballot as well, Jonathan Alder, for a bond issue? Before you sent those notices, did
I
you know
take
that?
well, your question should be, did I take that into
No,
consideration?
no, that wasn't.
No,
the
that wasn't
question.
the
The answer to that.
Did you know?
Did I know you were on,
Of course you did,
It's a
because
yes
you
or
quoted in
no.
the dispatch saying you didn't know it would affect any tax levy.
For 1 year, we've been
You're on the bond.
diligently communicating with our taxpayers that how this bond is going to impact them is $179 per 100,000 of their home value.
Yeah.
And it took 2 community forums and a couple special board meetings to help everyone know that tax impact. And if it's your duty to be transparent, how you explained to me on Friday, to communicate that tax impact to every taxpayer in Union County, why not do it sooner, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago, so that we would have one opportunity to share how that doesn't impact our taxpayers the way that they would read that letter if their home value goes up $200,000. One would assume then it's another $179 per 100,000.
But it would necessarily be decreased. The $179 per 100,000 would be less.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the people at home,
Okay.
Heck yeah.
right?
Yeah, I know how it works.
And so it's disingenuous.
How's that? Also,
Because you told, we're on the ballot at 179 per 100,000.
Okay.
You gave people in the community valuations that increased their home values by $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. They're
Estimates.
without giving us the ability to say, if these numbers are accurate, the 179 per 100,000 is going to go down. We never had the opportunity to answer that to the community. You took that opportunity away from us. Had you sent those letters out in August, we could have responded. We could have explained. But you, in your responsibility to the community to make sure everybody knows, basically undercut the school district. We just want you to understand that. We didn't appreciate it. I do appreciate you coming here today and facing the music. For that, I do appreciate it. But
You know what bothers me most is it wasn't just us as a board you heard towards, it was our kids. This bond was so important to our community, so important to our children, and you tanked it for us.
you do know it passed in Union County, right?
It doesn't make any difference. How many no votes did you prompt with your letter? It makes no difference at all
Right.
it passed it.
Whether it
I will never know that.
They will
You'll
not know
never
how
be
many
able to
people-
prove that.
7 votes would have made a difference.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a
7
14
votes.
That's 14
I got more than
points.
7 Facebook posts here.
That's 14 points.
But not just
Assuming
Union,
they have a
not just
husband and
So
wife.
you could just say sorry.
Not just
You could
Union
just own it and
County,
say
but
sorry.
what about those?
In my letter, I regret the thing.
I have yet to hear it from you, and I have children in this district that matter.
Not only in Union County, but maybe those in Madison County that know a reappraisal is coming their way to see what happened to
Right.
Union County that says
Yeah.
no.
Look at this, and this is what's gonna happen.
The thing that people don't, like you said, the thing people don't generally understand is if your valuation goes up, it's the same effect as when there are more people that move in. It actually makes the dollar amount go down.
Correct.
for 100,000.
But we weren't able to,
But-
we weren't able to
exactly.
message that.
There was no way
There was
with
no
the
time to
there was
message
no way.
that. And that's, with transparency, and it would have been great if we could have done that in collaboration.
I understand. I understand the timing, probably.
Not probably.
The consideration, I did not have any consideration for the election, only the amount of time between when taxes are due and when I had the final numbers with the final drafts, with the final letters, with the final envelopes.
They're not final.
And
No, my drafts.
and 1 week would have not made a
You've
difference
still not
for
answered
you.
the question, why now? You've never done it. You've had this job for a decade. There have been reevaluations every 3 years. You were asked the question, why did you never do it before? You don't
And
have an answer to
I
that
thought I
question.
answered that, Bruce, by saying there was a more significant change this year than I've seen in any of the other valuation cycles.
And it was just so critical to send it out right before the election. I mean, if you were doing your job, wouldn't you have had those numbers earlier? Couldn't you put it together earlier?
I've been working on those numbers since August.
Then you, all right, then you
You're
could.
making his
why
point.
couldn't-
You're making his point.
Okay.
Or is, wait
All
till
right. I think we're
December,
good.
December.
Again, thank you for coming in. I think we're going to move on with our meeting today.
I got a motion to make, yes.
Pardon me?
I have a motion to make. I have a motion that we authorize the superintendent to consult our legal counsel to pursue any and all possible monetary damages caused to the district, including a reimbursement for the levy campaign from the Union County Treasurer or any other entity tied to the Union County Treasurer or insured by, tied with it as an insurance provider for Union County.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
I think we should have my opinion would be, let's let this rest for today. We don't have to make a decision. The decision to pursue what you're talking about can be done at a later date.
I don't think it's not contingent upon whether it passes or not. He has caused us irreparable damage in our district. If this passes now on a recount with provisionals, there are going to be people who think that it was done disingenuously. He has caused us irreparable damage in our district with his actions, which were malicious, despite what he says. There's a motion on the floor, we can discuss it, but we're going to vote on it.
I think it's important. I don't know that we have to do anything, but I think we should absolutely explore options here.
That's all my motion was to explore, to authorize the superintendent to consult with our attorneys to explore our legal options for possible damages.
You know, my daughter lives in Madison County, and you know I fought with her. Zillow appraised her house online for $320,000. Madison County, on their books, it's $190,000. So she pays taxes on $190,000, but she sees that from the realtors that are out there saying her house is worth $320,000, which is also misleading when it comes to paying taxes. So it's not only him, but it's also you have to look at the realtors and
Retail, the price you'd pay will always be higher than your price.
Yeah. But I mean, it's misleading when you look at it and say, well, you know, that's another $150,000 I got to pay taxes on. And if you don't know the actual price, you know, you got to do legwork.
Mr. Hooley, I don't know if the board needs to vote on this, but I can let you know that Mr. Ingalls and I have already pursued legal counsel to explore options of next steps.
Okay. Well, don't we have to vote on the motion? It's on the floor.
Yeah,
It's been
the
seconded.
motion's on the floor. Well, let's go ahead and vote on whether or not this board would like to see those options explored that you're already pursuing.
I think it's a good move because I think it's also covering Jim.
Yeah, it covers
and
Jim.
Mark,
It's been authorized by the
because
board if we approve it.
Yes.
We are asking him to do that. He's not doing it on his own. We're asking him to do that.
Yes.
It's only exploring options.
Okay, ready for a roll? Mr. McCartney?
Sure. Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Sorry, I got you, Mr. Hanlon. Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
And Mr. Votaw?
Yes.
I think we should have motion to change the agenda for an addition to the agenda.
I mean, it's still within Robert's rules.
Mhm.
It is.
It is.
Well, we're good.
When's the paper come out?
Interesting, yeah. Depends how fast I can write it.
Okay, now, Mr. Engel.
Okay.
If we could change the mood a little bit in the room
Try.
and get super happy.
You want to take a break? Recess
It's
or
okay.
water?
I need a drink.
What?
Yeah, I need a
Can I have a drink of water?
Let me
Get a water drink?
Yeah, we can recess. Okay.
Yeah.
What's on my list?
It all come down the house, we have a big bonfire, good hot dogs.
Okay, we back?
We always have kids at the house.
Yeah.
All right.
How quickly is this replay available?
Calling the meeting is up.
Need a motion on financial reports?
What?
Okay,
sorry.
Financial reports.
So moved.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the October 2025 financial reports as presented?
So moved. Second.
Okay. So, anyway, So October came and went. We're 33% of the way through our fiscal year. We're currently right on track. Our revenues are running just a little behind where we're expected to be, but our expenditures are a little bit ahead. Overall, I'm not too concerned. I do want to let the public know that we do have our financial statements for fiscal year 2025 completed. Those are our GAAP prepared statements. So they're online. They're not audited yet, but if anyone wants to take a look and look at them, feel free to do so on our website.
Okay. Any comments? Roll call?
Mrs. Detweiler.
Yes.
Mr. Hooley.
Yes.
Mr. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Votaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the following grants and donations?
So moved. Second.
So I do want to invite Mrs. Byers to describe them. They're all we got awarded 4 times for the same grant, and she can do a better job explaining how they're going to be used.
Yeah, so so Battelle had a grant through the Ohio STEM Learning Network that's been coming out every year, and we actually had a lot of teachers who took it upon themselves to write their own grant and figure out how we could just kind of improve things within our buildings. And so we had 4 teachers or 4 educators that were awarded the grant. So just to give you a little background, Brianna Shaner over at the junior high, she wrote her grant last year, the same grant, and had a set of hummingbird kit robots that we've been passing between all of the buildings. And so she wrote a grant to get her own set of those. It's just a good way for coding and robotics, and she can take that and extend her projects in a million different ways. It's a really great resource that we didn't have before that. We had, let's see, this one is here. Another one at the junior high, Libby Heinig, she wrote hers to put in a sensory garden walk over at the junior high, and her kids are going to help put all of that together. It's just going to be a good project-based learning for her kids that she's serving. Here at the high school, we had Lori Kersey that earned a grant, and hers is going to be focused on 3D printing and getting 3D printers in here. Her goal is to pose a question to her students to find something here within the building to fix or improve, and then create that model and go through that process and actually physically create that model. And then over at Monroe, Lexus Wolf, she was awarded hers for a mosaic design challenge. So within their house systems, she's going to work with each different house to create a different mosaic, to put it together to create a whole masterpiece for Monroe to enjoy. I think with hers too, there's some take-home parts as well. So again, this was not any of my doing. It was our teachers that they looked around and saw a need and a way that they wanted to kind of elevate and extend what they're doing, and they were awarded some really nice grants.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
really is.
Taking that initiative and like finding the need, being able to articulate it, and doing the work to apply for the grant.
And they're all different things, so.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
all
it's-
different, right? Nobody, are you saying they didn't copy their grant request?
They did not, but even just the thought of like a project of like what could we do?
What could we do?
They were very.
They all sound awesome.
Different, so yes.
And great for our students. That's great.
Yeah. So
Phenomenal.
each teacher was awarded $5,000 towards their project. So yeah, thankful for their efforts, and excited to see what they do.
And congratulations.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Great, guys, cool.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Hooley.
Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler.
Yes.
Mr. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Votaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the amended appropriations and certificate of estimated resources as presented?
So
Second.
And so this is to budget for these grants that we just accepted. So we received the checks yesterday. We went to the bank. They can start putting in requisitions for purchase orders, get their supplies in as early as tomorrow.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Votaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Hooley.
Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to section 8. Can I have a motion to approve the employment and personnel consent items as presented under 8.01 and 8.02 and 8.03?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Votaw?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to new business. May I have a motion to approve the overnight trip for the high school boys wrestling team as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So they're just gonna make a decision on the fly on this? That's what I gather from the,
No,
may possibly stay overnight, but may not.
They will go, but they don't know if they're staying
It
the
depends on
night.
probably the schedule
Once
and
it's
winning.
approved, the option is, so he has the option.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
and paid for by the team and their fundraiser account through the athletic boosters,
Yeah.
if they stay overnight. Okay, so they have approval from us if we so choose. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Votaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, may I have a motion to declare transportation impractical and offer payment in lieu of transportation for the 2025-26 school year for the following students listed in our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Mr. Votaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And may I have a motion to approve the resolution to pursue modular classroom units and authorize the treasurer and superintendent to enter into a contract?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
Just making sure you're still awake.
So
Yes.
we would still have approval over the contract?
There wouldn't be any contract unless the board is accepting and behind the plan.
Right.
This allows us to explore. I want to be careful what I say publicly about what I recommend for where and how many modulars at this time. I think it's very important that we see where the bond lands, because that does change some things with how many and where.
Okay. Okay,
But
so.
I do want to thank the board for everyone being present at Shekinah this afternoon to walk through their 4 modular classrooms. I think it was very beneficial to experience and walk through classrooms, hallways, lighting, restrooms, so that you will know, what you're voting on maybe here in the next month or two.
I appreciate you putting that together. That was
Yeah.
really helpful.
Am I allowed to ask a question about the modulars at Shekinah? Were those once upon a time property of Jonathan Alder?
We're not aware of that, but what we walked through were brand new ones.
Okay.
That
I'm
were-
asking for
We
the
won't-
public because
we
some
won't-
people think
we
that
won't
they
do the
were.
25
So I'd like to
the
dispel
second
that
set we
myth.
walked through.
Not since I've been on.
Was 25.
Okay.
Never had it either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We did
who it
it
belonged
like to the elementary.
What I wanted the board to see was the new.
Old
Yeah.
elementary.
But they are not the ones that are currently at Shekinah.
No.
Those they purchased on their own.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
even-
thank you for clarifying.
Even if we did, give Shekinah modular units, it's not like we can just go ask them for them back.
Oh, I completely understand.
But I've seen those comments.
I'm just trying to support how fiscally responsible you guys have been and make sure that the community knows those were not ours once upon a time. And we did not just give them away to need them back
Right, yeah.
or have to purchase more.
And just to be clear, this just basically gives us authorization to, start the procurement process if we were to go down this route. So we can advertise bids because this will be over our bidding threshold. We could look at cooperative purchasing programs, just so we can get, as we, as Dr. Miller puts together the plan, we have an idea, we can actually provide the board actual pricing, because we have bids, we can actually show you how much it's going to cost us, if this is something we need to pursue.
But just to reiterate, we're not purchasing
We're not
anything
purchasing
right now.
anything.
We don't have a firm plan right now. This is just to start the process.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votak?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, section 10 of our agenda is the informational item regarding the bond issue and the impact, which is open to the public. Does anybody have anything additional that we didn't already address? Because we
Covered a lot of ground.
we did cover a lot of ground on this already.
Do we know how many votes are going to be counted?
We don't know exactly.
Our understanding is 103 as of the last
Going to be
official.
Ballot.
counted or evaluated?
Evaluated.
Well, that
Then
counts the.
Well, hold on, we don't know that
Yeah,
yet.
we don't know. Those are the absentee ballots that were requested and not yet returned on election night, plus provisional ballots.
Okay, so
So
if
some of them
an-
may not be returned,
If an
they may
absentee
not.
ballot did not arrive by
Yeah.
Saturday, it's out.
It's out.
So even though we have a number of how many absentee ballots were outstanding, we don't know how many have been returned.
Oh, I didn't. clear
We
that.
do know how many provisional
But I don't
ballots.
know, we don't know how to break down though.
Do you know, do
I-
you guys know the number of provisionals?
Hold on.
Essentially.
Oh
30
my
in each
goodness.
county.
I thought that's what we were talking about. Give me just 1 second. I can tell you how many were returned. You guys are crazy.
They were not included
Oh
in the
my
unofficial
goodness.
results that were posted on
Oh my
election night.
goodness. Okay. Okay. So as of Tuesday,
Today?
I'm sorry, as of Thursday, my apologies.
Okay.
As of last Thursday, in Union County, there was 25 provisional, 15, 15 absentee that were turned in,
That's 40.
okay? Madison County had 19 absentees turned in and 32 provisionals. So what's that? That's the number I thought we were talking about.
Yeah, but
72.
No, because there's more could have come
more
in.
could came in since.
Yeah, there's
Between Thursday and Saturday.
there, yes.
Okay. There could have
And
been
I
more.
called, both Madison and Union County, and they were,
Sick of hearing from you.
they were. They weren't willing to answer that question.
Sure.
They didn't have it broken
They
down.
have some
by-
counting to do,
On
right?
Friday, they told me 31 provisional, 32 absentee in Madison.
That were turned in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
31.
31 and 32.
In Madison.
Provisional.
Well, see, that's different than what Bill just said.
Well, but that,
More
That's
absentee.
Friday versus Tuesday.
Well, anyway, we'll find
No,
out.
it's one less provisional. than
When we
Bill
get the
said.
final count, how will we be notified? I mean, why can't we look at it?
Do we get the Madison County numbers Thursday? This coming Thursday?
Supposed to.
This
Yeah.
coming Thursday, and we get the Union County numbers next Tuesday?
I think Monday.
Monday.
the 17th.
Monday.
Do we look at it in the paper, or is it gonna be on
It'll be
the
on their
website? or-
On their
You're
website,
all-
so I'm looking for
you're-
official canvas, official
I'm
results.
sure if it passes, you'll probably hear from the district. But if it doesn't, I don't know if we're gonna be blasting that out.
Do you want us just to email you directly?
Yeah.
No, but really
There's
brief,
another
just
good
anything.
chance that there would be a recount as well, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there could be an automatic recount, which then delays the process even further for when it's officially official. And then after the automatic recount, then there could be a potential of someone on the losing side, either side, to ask for a manual recount. So that delays the certification a little bit further.
Longer. Okay.
Okay, now, we're good as far as the bond issue goes? Great. Okay, the next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at Canaan Middle School at 5 PM. And may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Detweiler?
Yes.
Mr. Hooley?
Yes.
Mr. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Votak?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
You're adjourned.
Okay, thank you, everybody.